All right, dude, I've got AP this time for commentary on this episode.
Hey, yeah, Andy's still fucking around in Alaska.
Dude, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Fuck Alaska. I'm just kidding. I actually don't know anything. I'm sure it's sick.
All right, let's set the table for this game. So this one's kind of a little bit unique. What we did was we took like the 5 primeval dragons from Dominaria and then like Gen 2 of the primeval dragons. So those are all of the dragons that are a 6/6 for 6 and have some activated ability where you pay 3 mana on combat and they trigger something. Or is it on combat damage?
Yeah, so combat damage. So it has to connect, and that was one of the obstacles we had to figure out while deck building.
So what we did was we put all 10 of them in a hat. Everybody drew. Then they had to build just kind of a budget deck, just kind of with whatever they had around. But it presented some interesting obstacles doing this exercise. Oh, by the way, we also didn't know what each other had as we were doing this.
And that was, so we did it at the end of our Commander Night, which we do on Saturdays, or church as we call it. And that whole week was so agonizing.
Like, what has everybody got? What are they gonna do?
Yeah, and something we do a lot, just as we're a really close group, is we always help each other overcome each other's deck building obstacles, right?
Yeah, but we were in the dark on this.
We were in the dark. It was a trip. There's so many moments when I did it, I was like, oh my god, how would the guys handle this? Like, how would the guys handle this? Is this gonna work? Is this dumb?
Yeah, and there's some unique obstacles in that that everybody else is going to have a 6/6 flying dragon, and so kind of trying to figure out how are you going to get around that. Anyway, let's set up who's here in this particular game. So we've got a bunch of people in the group, but this is 4 of the decks showing down with each other with their dragons. Top left is me with Rith, the Awakener. The guy that brings out a bunch of tokens. Let's see if I can exercise the token principles we talked about on a recent podcast.
Yeah, let's see if you practice what you preach, you hypocrite.
Over from me, we've got Chris, who's got Treva. So life gain is the name of the game for this guy. Maybe a little bit of feeding off of Rith if I can get a bunch of permanents set up, because he gains life based off of the number of permanents of a particular color on the battlefield.
Yep. And then we got Brad over. Is it Intet or Innet?
It's Intet.
Intet across from Chris, and he did something pretty cool with the teamer colors. Almost kind of an homage to Riku. He does have a lot of like play your stuff, copy spells, thievery going on. So I thought it was a really cool take on that. We'll see how that kind of unfolds.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting one. Then over from him is Andy with Numot, so land destruction dragon. And I think we can expect from Andy just a lot of control type stuff with his deck. All right,
man, let's hit it.
Let's hit it, dude.
See the dragons duke it out. Actual EDH.
Elder Dragon, indeed. So yeah, early plays. Andy's kind of getting set up with some ramp, Wayfarer's Bauble.
Yeah, and something about these budget league games is ramp is just it gets a lot tougher than your regular games where you have all of your expensive $20 artifacts.
It's true, because like even things like a Kodama's Reach, they kind of stretch your budget when you have a budget cap, right? Like you're kind of like, should I use that, or do I just want to stick with this rampant growth and a Wayfarer's Bauble,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Andy doesn't have any green, right? So he did have to rely on stuff like the Wayfarer's Bauble.
Yeah. So he cracks his Bauble. I get my Cultivate
Cultivate. Yeah, at this point, I really would just prioritize mulliganing into those ramp spells,
Yeah, I mean, since everybody has a 6/6 for 6, like we all know the game's going to go a little bit slower. But it is sort of key, like one of the things you can do to get your dragon in is just be in a turn early, right?
Exactly.
Or you can do this where Brad's playing Fires of Yavimaya and gets his creatures haste.
Yeah, if you're a cock. Well, that was another hard thing about this, is just trying to get the dragons to connect. And yeah, everybody's really racing each other to get these things out. So, Andy's doing it in the way that he can with the artifact ramp.
Oh my gosh,
even an ever-flowing
had 3
chalice.
ramp spells to this point.
Yeah.
Got 1 charge.
That's what you got to do when you're not in green, man.
Yeah.
And he's probably still behind you guys in mana.
He always is. It seems like he's always like, what do I got?
He runs pretty lean. All right, there's your...
So Leonin War Leader. This is just something that gets me a few tokens. The deck's primarily going to want me to have green permanents, but something like this just gets me started for Rith.
Yeah, and right now is a timely way to have it. Not a lot of blockers up.
Yeah, there's not much in the way. So Chris has got a wild growth for some more ramp. Man, people are getting on top of their shit.
Yeah, people are really greening out right now. Okay, there's the ingot.
I'm feeling left out. I've only cast one ramp spell to this point.
You idiot. You cast a creature, dude. Okay, what's going to hit us?
So Andy Shivan Rith shocks him because he's got to get the color out of it to cast Numot.
Okay, first one out of the gates, you know?
Dude, there's a dragon out and about, man.
Yeah, what sucks about his being out is if people are that close to casting their dragon and he can get a land destroyed, they're back a turn, man.
That's going to be rough. So I send my Leonin War Leader at Brad, get those lifelink kitties in.
Meow. Oh, shit. All right, man, what do you got up your sleeve?
I think it's time for me to cast my dragon too.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's really starting to...
Because of what you pointed out, like if he chews up any of my lands in the process. Ooh.
Yeah, it had to come out. Okay, I wonder if Chris follows suit, probably.
Yeah, so here comes Treva the
Renewer. It's dragon time. You know, that's what's so cool is everyone's kind of on that same clock. You're seeing the same turn as dragon turn.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like it's fucking...
Yeah, it kind of sucks that you know, Brad went last with haste. You know,
he's got haste. Now he's got all these dragons.
Like, it doesn't matter now, you know.
All right, what's he got?
Okay, so this is interesting from Brad. So he's the only one that didn't cast his dragon, and he actually goes and clones someone else's, and I believe it's yours. Right?
Yeah, so he goes and he copies Rith the Awakener. So, but with the altered ego, he can put into that X.
Yep.
And it gets +1/+1, so his is actually a 7/7.
Yeah, and that's a really cool, kind of we were talking about the challenge of this is we know everyone has a 6/6 flyer, and it has to deal combat damage to, you know, do the activated ability. So Brad's approach is cool. I'm going to copy your thing +1.
Yeah,
right? So
nobody's coming in.
Favorable trade. So a bit of protection onto Numot with Andy, and here comes the Citadel Seed.
Ooh.
So this was a clever include from him because you're always tapping at least one creature, and knowing that everyone had to connect for their dragon's activation cost, this kind of hosed a lot of us when we were seeing this in our game.
Yeah, it gives him the leverage of like, okay, I can stop your dragons, so don't fuck with me.
Yeah, don't fuck with me.
Come in with a guild gate, it looks like, and then goblin bombardment.
Nice,
dude. This is for tokens, dude. Gotta get all the value out of those tokens, man.
You're the expert on that, man. Whole damn episode on it.
So this is some good card draw in a situation like this because my fucking commander's a 6/6, so let's use that Colossal Majesty, dude.
Yeah, let's see it. So here we kind of see this at work, right? Combat starts and he just taps down your dragon.
Yeah, so I don't get to... I was planning on not getting to use my dragon, thus the card draw spell getting cast.
I mean,
so.
You can see that you tapped out. You didn't even have enough mana for the activation. Like,
yeah.
You're like, yeah, fuck it, it's happening.
So Chris comes in with the Wall of Reverence, which will give him some additional life gain outside of his commander. But now I'm open, dude.
So here comes Dad.
So, so Andy's getting political here. He decides to
He's like, I want this to happen.
Yeah.
You know, he's been really savvy about this, just kind of valuing how much damage is going not his way.
Yeah, so
right?
he pushes Chris into going at me. And then Chris gets the end of the turn life gain from the Wall of Reverence, plus the activation. So it's like this huge life swell in one turn, dude.
Yeah, it's like 15.
Here's another solution Brad uses to kind of make sure his dragons get through is unblockable with Aqueous Form.
Yeah, there is a lot of options to get your dragon through, and it looks like Brad definitely leaned on that heavy. Just, you can't block at all.
So Andy, of course, has to target his dragon with the Citadel Siege target.
Yep, you can't have it happen.
But Brad casts the Simic Charm to give it hexproof, and he's just like, get fucked.
Comes at Chris with that juicy life total.
Yeah, somebody needs to take a hit for sure.
Yeah, it makes it easy. When everyone's at 40, I do have a hard time choosing, you know?
So with somebody's high life total like that.
Like, yeah, there's no way to argue. You can't bargain yourself out of this one, man.
But now he uses his Rith copy activation to get a bunch of Saprolings. I was not happy at this point, AP. I was not happy.
It generates a little salt seeing people, you know,
when they're getting off on your own
like
shit.
That. Yeah, getting off on your shit. You're like, wait, that's my thing.
I wanted to get an activation before him. So Andy starts his turn with the Serum Visions, kind of starts digging into his deck a little bit.
Searching for hopefully a fucking Wrath. Look at this.
Cracks a Hedron Archive as well.
Yeah,
he really fucking needs cards.
He's digging, man. Okay, where's it going?
I think Chris takes the hit here from Numot. And Andy might... I think he didn't go with activating... Oh, maybe he does. Yeah, he does activate it here. Choose up some lands. We were joking the whole time that it's like Numot aerating services.
Yeah.
But he accidentally brings his tiller and he just like totally fucks up your total yard.
He's like, fuck, my bad.
So
it looks like, yeah, showed a little mercy there.
Yeah, he's getting political, like allowing me to use Rith because the other two have their dragons tapped down.
And he's kind of like, hey, you can connect, do your thing, but it's not going my way.
Exactly.
You know?
So I go at Brad because I'm a little peeved, AP.
Yeah, look at that. He's getting off, dude. You're like, no, it's my fucking thing, doc.
But I show him how it's done. I get some Hunter's Insight to draw some cards.
You show him who the OG is a little bit.
Check it out, dude. I'm getting a bunch of cards from that damage, and I'm activating Rith.
Boom, dude. It's
now
like,
who's got Saprolings?
It's like your deck is built around it. You know what I mean?
But it actually helped me that he had so many Saprolings out.
Look at that, 14.
So I get 14 from him. Like, it's just fucking stupid.
Dude.
Plus, I've got that Goblin Bombardment, so I'm kind of holding people hostage now,
I
dude.
love Goblin Bombardment. Even if you answer it, it's kind of pick your poison, right? Either I'm going to throw that much damage out.
So this Crash of the Rhino Beetles is kind of a hard pick against Numot because potentially it could help that Wall of Reverence really get off, but he's going to have a hard time getting 10 lands. And he does the same favor here. He taps down the wall, but Chris doesn't have mana to activate Treva, just getting in some combat damage.
And he's fine with that. He's sitting and everybody else is going down. It really does work.
Yeah, and I've got 12 commander damage from Chris now too, so...
You're getting pretty close to the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating about the dragons. They're just that one-off.
Yeah, I wish they were 7/7
from commanders. All right, looks like we finally get to see him out.
Yeah, so Intet comes... Which is an interesting one. Like, Brad's build is very interesting because you're not focused on Intet that much.
Yeah, the deck's obviously gone this far without seeing him once. You know, it definitely can just pilot on its own.
And he continues with this, like, I won't tap down your dragon shit and push some damage Chris's way.
There you go.
No activation this time. Fuck you, Brad. No Saprolings for you, dude.
Yeah, I kind of like Brad's approach, right? Everyone's kind of banking on everyone building a deck around their dragon to where his is like, you know, mine's kind of a non-factor in a way, you know?
And he likes these transmute spells.
Yeah,
to go
he loves the flexibility of it, so...
So he goes and finds a Deflecting Palm, which is another deterrent at this point.
Exactly. Even without the siege, it's kind of like, you know it's coming back at your face.
Yeah. And he puts in some damage on Chris as well.
Okay, all right, so Chris is at 12, getting close on the clock, and there's the Wrath.
Ooh.
That's pretty juicy Wrath, but kind of like I was saying earlier, you kind of have that, what do you call it, your insurance policy?
I do have an insurance policy, and I've got a decision to make with this Goblin Bombardment, and...
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I'm a little upset at Andy because he just Wrathed us,
yeah,
and I'm still upset at Brad, too, because that jackass was copying my game plan. So
there you go.
Gotta put hands on, dude. That may be a bad decision, though, because Chris has a lot of life.
Yeah, you definitely let your emotions come through a little bit there, you know? But, you know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Dragon Lord's Servant, cheapening Andy's dragon cost.
Because it's getting pretty up there.
Yeah, one loss with your dragons it gets steep.
Fucking bad. It's a whole turn 8. So here comes Dragon Lair Spider.
So now everybody casting spells can help me get more permanents, green permanents in this case.
You timed that awesome. It's really timely with people kind of resetting up to where like people have to progress. Sometimes people are okay to just stay with the board state they have, but you got it right after a Wrath.
Yeah, so it's perfect timing for that.
Okay, there's one.
Yeah. Yeah, so Eternal Witness comes in, triggers the Dragon Lair Spider, so I get myself an insect. He grabs that Wall of Reverence. Guess he really needs that.
Yeah, he likes that life gain. Doesn't he know it's not a score, dude? It's a resource.
Exactly. That's the thing about life game, right? But I've got 2 insects just from his turn. And Andy's obliged to tap down a creature.
Yeah.
Chris is sitting at 37. Thank God he doesn't have a creature with big power at this point.
All right, what do we got right here?
So Brad's got a hull breach. He's got a couple targets to go after. And so he did not like what Goblin Bombardment did.
Yeah, he did not like how that panned out, right?
And the idea of Andy having hexproof and haste with his boots is the other thing he wasn't into.
The
Dragon Lair Spider likes the insects. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, keep doing that. Keep casting spells. This is fine.
So some redundancy here. He gets haste, but he also gets the card draw, I think, from...
And now they're just like so fucking fast when they hit the field, dude.
They do damage before they leave his hand?
Before they even leave his hand, dude. That's a lot of mana, man. All right, here he is.
Yeah,
That's like we're saying, it's a whole turn, man. It's a whole turn to get him back out.
And I'm getting the juiciness, and he had to use his Shivan Reef just to get... Like, he's getting some damage from that alone.
Yeah. That's a lot of value, man. How many do you have at this point? Just from...
It's been a few. I even forgot a trigger there. I didn't even get one.
It's just happening so often, you know?
But Andy uses that Crimson Wisp to get haste, and he puts hands on Chris.
Now Chris is on the clock.
Yeah, he's only got one more shot from Numot. He's out, so...
Yeah, that's probably why he's not too concerned about all the life gain, right?
Yeah. So I'm not into Citadel Siege continuing to do its work, so I was saving that Aura mutation to hit at the right time.
Nice. And you did it, just in-stepped him with it.
Plus, it fuels me with more green bodies, dude.
Yep. Oh, here we go.
So he gets rid of Goblin Bombardment, and I'm like, fine, I'll do it on the front end, dude. Impact Tremors.
If it's not when they die, it's when they come in, all right? So this is awesome for your deck.
Yeah, so Pollen Bright Wings, I was kind of in the space of should I cast Rith again, but I went with casting Pollen Bright Wings and just putting it on the Dragon Lair Spider because I'm going to get 5 Saprolings from attack. And then with the Impact Tremors, it's doing a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, that was way wise on your part. Because putting that Impact Tremors is really kind of telling people there's a bomb under the table.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It really kind of puts everyone in that predicament. Like, we need to figure something out now.
Yeah, so I
you need to get value out of that immediately.
Exactly. So I send some tokens Andy's way. I send the Dragon Lair Spider at Chris. Just trying to kind of level things off and get those impact triggers.
Remember when Chris had 55 life, dude?
I know. Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. We knew that wasn't
so Andy was begging for a Wrath spell, and this is the absolute wrong Wrath spell here. Because I have an enchantment on the Dragon Lair Spider, and I'm like, oh, by the way, it triggers, and it's not dead.
That is like the most niche shit I've ever seen, man. You're like, thanks for taking 1 more damage.
And clearing the board for me. I'm like, all right, cool, dude.
This is fine. Keep playing spells. And people just are not in a position to not cast spells. So here comes Intet, right?
Yeah, so
You're
Intet.
like, yes.
And we go through the Dragon Lair Spider Impact Tremor cycle.
Man, what a clock. It's really ticking down, man.
But he gets a draw off of his Tamir Ascendancy. Andy was agonizing at this point. Like, you see him throw his cards down. He's like, I spent all my mana to cast my commander.
Oh my god. That's what's hard. It's hard to recover. Once these dragons are going, it's great, right?
Yeah.
So you really did have, that was another obstacle of the deck building. What happens when my dragon's gone?
Exactly.
Here comes a Rishkar's expertise. That's gonna get kind of nuts.
Because I didn't get enough from that Hunter's Insight earlier, dude.
No way, dude.
But he swan songs me. Chris does.
But what's funny is, like, he kind of fucked either way.
There's
man.
2 triggers, so he casts a spell, so Dragon Lair Spider gets me the insect, and I get the bird from the swan song.
Man,
so.
you put people in a pretty bad catch-22.
Yeah.
I mean, he was smart to counter it, but yeah, you put yourself in that position to where, all right, you casted a spell, take 1, and I get the swan. You know?
And then we go through the Pollen Bright Wings Impact Tremors thing again, and it's looking grim.
It's looking pretty bad for everybody else.
Like, they've got a board wipe. Like, the spider has to go, dude.
Yeah.
And Andy's pointing it out.
It's like,
spider.
you guys. Yeah, and Chris is kind of out of options a little bit, you know? He can only cast his commander.
And he can't take hits either, too. Like,
and he put that, the Wrath was in there knowing, like, come on, how many we're gonna have an enchantment on there, dude, you know?
Turns out. So Brad brings in the Darksteel Pendant because he wants to get a hit in with Intet And he wants to make sure that the activation is solid, pulling from the top of his library.
You're like, but you idiot, you casted a
Yeah,
spell.
you cast another spell. So he's taking a look, taking a little peek.
Okay, he's like, please God, save me.
And he puts Runes of the Deus out, which gives him Trample and Double Strike, which is another great option for getting your dragon in.
Only had that 3rd haste. Could deal damage from the command zone.
I was actually legitimately worried about this because I'm like, okay, he's going to put in a big hit on me.
Yep.
And so, fortunately, I left some mana up and I got a kill shot. This is my strategy, was to let people go and just do some spot removal.
Because now, I mean, how much is Intet, you know? What, 10 CMC?
Yeah, and all that setup was wasted. Like, he just ran into the impact tremors.
Yeah, you're definitely the Highlander so far.
So, Andy's getting in a hit with Slip Through Space, but that triggers impact tremors with the Dragon Lair Spider, dude.
Is that a spell?
And then he puts hands on me, so I take a hit. but it's all but over at this point, dude. It's all but over. As soon as he
passes a turn, unless he can do it, it's over.
Just to chew some lands up for me. Numot's air rating service, dude.
Yeah.
We'll post his number in the show notes.
Yeah, if you need him to...
Numot will hook you up. And then just the formality of going into combat. Not often that you get a combat where, at least for me, where I can take out all 3 players at the same time.
Yeah, you really position yourself well there. I like how they answered the Goblin Bombardment, and there's the Impact Tremors right after. You know,
I think that goes to what like we talk about with tokens. Like, it's not just their bodies. Like, if you can get value out of them in other ways, you got to do it with you're
probably jazzed to pick this guy up. Were you wanting him? Did you want Rith?
So I actually wanted either Rith or Treva were the 2 that I was interested in having, because I like tokens, I like life gain.
There you go, man.
So
yeah, I think you position yourself well. That Dragon Lair Spider couldn't have been better timing. If that Wrath didn't happen, there's a chance people would, they
could have gotten
okay
back
with
in.
their board state.
Yeah, they could have gotten back in, but it was kind of fortuitous, kind of serendipitous maybe, to just have that kind of a setup. Anyway, what did you think though of doing this kind of thing with these dragons, man?
I loved it. One of my favorite things about this game is deck building. I love just trying to come up with an idea, flesh it out, and then bring it to the Crucible and see how it does. So this kind of aspect of knowing there's a 6/6 flyer in the air, did a lot for the deck building. And you saw people get around it a lot of different ways. Brad had Unblockable to connect, Andy had the Citadel Siege. You had like single target removal.
Yeah.
Right. And we saw a lot of that. It was cool to see how people. What's funny is, given that the exact same thing, we're all dealing with the exact same thing on other people's table as far as a commander. There were so many options that came about of how to handle it.
Came up with a lot of different solutions, which is pretty rad.
And it looks like yours, at least that game, was the most efficient one.
It turned out well for me. But let's get some more going. I want to see some more of these dragon ones, because you've got a deck that we need to feature, and some other people too.
Yeah, I'd love to show my deck. I had a blast with mine.
For sure.